Hi, I'm Jeff Surratt. I'm excited to be with you today talking about how to double your attendance on Easter. I have to start with a confession though. I don't know how to double your attendance on Easter. Hopefully some of the other speakers on the conference have given you some great ideas. What I would like to talk to you about is how to keep some of those people that come on Easter, how to assimilate them into your church. In 30 years of church ministry, from pastoring a small church plant in Texas to serving on staff at one of the largest churches in America, I've had a lot of front row experience of what works and what doesn't work when it comes to retaining visitors and assimilating them into the church. Today I just have a few minutes, so I want to share 3 things that I think are most helpful in helping people stick to your church by improving your weekend experience. The first thing you need to do if you have been at a church for more than 6 months is you need to get a set of fresh eyes to look at your weekend experience. What happens is when we're there week after week after week, we stop noticing some of the things that are going on around us. This is called the curse of knowledge. The curse of knowledge says that when you've done something for a long period of time, you forget what it was like not to know what it's like to be new. I experienced this recently when I bought a new car and I had to get a title and a license plate. So I headed to the place we all like to spend our day off, the DMV. I filled out some paperwork. I brought all the papers connected to the car, and finally my number was called. When I got to the desk, the lady behind the desk said, how can I help you? And I said, I would like to get a license plate and a title for my car. She looked like I had just slapped a baby seal. She said, you can't do that today. That takes 10 days. So what would you like me to do? We were at an impasse. I knew that I wanted a title for my car. She knew how to give me a title for my car. But she had been doing this so long, she had forgot what it was like to be a newcomer and how to explain it to a newcomer. And you know, I see that happen in churches a lot, where we get kind of set in our ways and we forget what it's like to be new. So let me give you a couple ideas of how to get fresh eyes on your weekend experience. One thing that I've done is to trade pulpits with another pastor, to offer to speak at his church a week on a weekend if he'll come speak at your church. And then afterwards get together for coffee and talk about what you see. What can we improve? What didn't make sense to you? And to get those fresh eyes. Another way to get fresh eyes on your weekend experience is just ask the people who come on a regular basis. Do a survey and ask them, what are the things that we're not seeing? What are the things that you like the best? What are the things that we need to change? What's looking old? What needs to be refreshed? And that's a great way to get their input, and let them do it anonymously so you can really hear what they see that you might not see. Another way that a friend of mine gets fresh eyes on his weekend experience is he actually will put an ad in Craigslist. He'll say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who doesn't normally attend a church. I'd love for you to come on a weekend. I'll pay you some money, $25, $50. And if you'll come, give us your opinion, tell us what you saw, tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. That'll really help us out. Then he uses the Craigslist unchurched person to really kind of give him feedback on what they're doing. I really recommend, though, before Easter, while you still have time, get fresh eyes to tell you, what do you see at our church? What do we need to freshen? What do we need to change? The second thing that you can do to help improve visitor retention, honestly, and this is a hard one, you need to improve your preaching. You need to get better. You know what? No matter how good you are or think you are, there's always room for improvement. Let me give you a couple of ideas how I think all of us can improve. These are the things that I do on a regular basis to try to improve my speaking. First, be sure that when you're speaking, you're answering the right questions. Pastors are infamous for answering questions that no one's asking. Let me give you a couple of questions that everyone in your audience is asking, especially the guys. The first question is what do you need me to know? I mean, seriously, what do you want me to know? I know you're going to tell me history of the Old Testament, history of the New Testament, fascinating stories about rabbis, all kind of research you did on Greece. That's great, but what do you want me to know? What's the basic premise of what you want me to know? And then once I understand what you want me to know, the second question I have is, how has this knowledge impacted your life personally? So tell me personal stories. How are you doing well in this area? How are you struggling in this area? How has this area impacted your life over the last few months and years? And then the third question that guys want to know, and women probably do too, but guys definitely want to know, is what do you want me to do with this knowledge today? Not tomorrow or next week. Tomorrow I won't even remember what your sermon was about. Next week I won't even remember I came to your church. What do you want me to do today with that knowledge? So every time you speak, answer those questions in your sermon. And the way to find out if you answered those questions is the second idea, is get feedback. All of us need feedback on our sermon, not just from our wife, who's going to either tell us what a great job we did or she's going to hurt our feelings. Get feedback from people you respect, people in your congregation. I recently had a church planter mailed me a link to his video sermon and said, hey, will you watch this and give me feedback? And so I gave him some honest feedback on his message. But improve your message, improve your preaching. So first thing you can do to help people stick to your church and assimilate is get fresh eyes to look at it. Second thing you could do is just get better at preaching. And then a third thing, and I think this might be the easiest to address and also in some ways the most challenging, is fix the front door. And what I mean by that is recently I moved to a new city. And in moving to a new city, I'm no longer working on staff at a church. So my wife and I, for the first time in our married life, have actually been able to choose the church we want to attend. And so in our city, we have attended several local churches. Churches, great pastors, doing amazing work. But we've noticed that in most of the churches that we attended, there are three common things. One, it's confusing when you get there. I mean, when you drive up, a lot of times it's hard to know, where am I supposed to park? Where are the bathrooms? Where is the auditorium that the adults go to? If I had kids with me, where would I drop my kids off? It's confusing most of the time. Second thing we've noticed in most of the churches we've attended is they are what I call faux friendly. They think they're friendly. There's a lot of laughing, there's a lot of handshaking, there's a lot of hugging, but the truth is they're friendly to the people that they already know. Now, normally there are some hired guns or hired volunteers that will shake my hand and hand me a bulletin, but that's all the friendliness that I get. And then the third thing that we've noticed is it's really hard to find a way to connect in most of these churches. Now, I think it's easy because they'll have signs like Connect Center or they'll have sign-up cards, but in reality, in most of the churches we've visited, it's really hard to figure out how would I actually connect to this group. So let me give you 3 quick ways to fix your front door. First of all, just get better signs. As a new attender, I don't need cute, I don't need attractive, I need simple and plain. One of my favorite church lobbies, their signs are bathrooms and adult auditorium and children's rooms. That's their signs in there as you walk into their lobby. That may be too extreme for you, but I like it because it tells me where to go. I don't have to ask anybody. I can just get there on my own. So fix your signs. Second thing you can do is something I call guerrilla greeters. Get some volunteers and talk to them about not standing at the door and handing out bulletins, but being on the lookout for people who look like they might be new to the congregation, and really train these people as guerrilla greeters. Teach them how to be friendly, how to be welcoming, how to really get to know people. Ask people, hey, is this your first time? Hey, I'd love to meet you. Tell me about your wife. Tell me about your kids. We're excited that you're here. And if they're not wearing a big placard that says, hey, I'm a greeter, and if they can come off as just a common person who's interested in meeting new people, that would do a lot to help fix the front door of your church. And then the last thing that I would encourage you to do is get an easy on-ramp. How do I get involved in your church? Most people who come to your church aren't looking for your theology or your music or your children's ministry. Honestly, most people, the first time they walk in, they're really looking for a friend. We're lonely. We want to connect with people. We've moved into the community or something's messed up in our lives and we just need a friend. Help us find a friend easily. Whether it's getting into a small group or a medium-sized group or a way to meet the pastor, find ways that are unintimidating, not just designed for extroverts, that we can connect to your church if that's what we want to do. Hey, I hope this stuff helps. I hope that you figure out how to double your church at Easter, and then you figure out how to keep people and assimilate them into your body, into the body of Christ. Thanks.